I'll start with Krisana. When you were growing up,
Oh
it's a
my
nice
goodness.
question. When you were growing up, what games did you play that you really enjoyed?
Ooh, the games I used to really enjoy playing was just let me go back there. Um, I really enjoy playing skateboard games with my brothers, like really skateboarding up and down the street. I also really remember enjoying before school. Sometimes we would be outside playing and doing make believe, like playing that we were creating some make believe place and building before we went to school. I clearly remember that was such a joy. I think my father had left a tent or the sails of a sailing boat over a clothes hanger, and then we just made it, oh, look what this, and we were playing inside that. So I remember those games, but a lot to do with bicycles outside, playing in the nature. I fortunately grew up with a lot of nature to support me and open spaces. So I had a lot of spontaneous creativity coming from nature.
Mazen, what about you? Games you played as a kid you really liked?
I'm smiling because actually, just diving immediately to this topic and diving with those questions, because we did not prepare the questions, actually directly made me really smile. It's the really best way to start such a podcast with such a intro, diving in. Things that makes me have fun, you said, or what's the exact
What games
question?
did you play as a kid that you enjoyed?
The first ones, actually, and probably that gives me this fat smile, is wrestling. We were really imitating the WWF, like during the US WWF, and then I was lucky to have two brothers, and it's really we're like cubs of lions, and we were wrestling all the time. We create the arena, we create everything. We had tricks, we used to copy things, but we really learned so much to play together that we knew how not to hurt, yet to do all the movements. So it's interesting, the intelligence of the body of a child. The more they train actually to play, the more we really, you do locks and things like this, but you really stop. And you stop before anything breaks. And if somebody looks from the outside, they think we're really hurting each other, but actually we're not. But all of it was within our brain body system unconsciously. And that's the best play. Later on, my brother still wanted to play when I was like 25 or 30. And I'm like, it was not fun because it was harder and it required a lot of flexibility. But sometimes, yeah, it's a good remembering, and even to remember it gives me this fat, big smile. I was fortunate to have two brothers to be able to, play those games. But that's the first one. Alone, I would say, so this is with my brothers, which is my best resources. And alone, I would say being in nature, being in the mountains when we used to go every weekend, and climbing trees, man. I loved climbing trees. I used to see myself as a monkey everywhere in my hands, and it was such a joyous thing to jump around climbing and be invincible in this kind of animalistic world, and feeling myself as invincible as an animal human in this flexibility jumping around. That's alone.
You've
What
unlocked
about you?
so many
I'm
different
curious.
memories. Yeah, you've unlocked so many different memories for me just in sharing, because me and my cousins in Greece used to do the WWF, WWE thing too. They really were into it. And I realized I could probably talk for an hour just on games that I played. But one of the things that I really loved with my grandmother and as like a family, we used to play a couple games. One was this Greek game called Grignari, which is called the whiner, or the one who whines, like whining. And it's kind of like similar to the American game Trouble or Sorry, where you're moving the little pieces around the board, and if you land on someone, you send them back home and they have to start over. And me, my sister, my grandmother, and my dad, we used to play that a lot. And it would just get like, when you're laughing so much you can't breathe and you're crying, like just complete chaos. It was so much fun. I mean, as a kid, I played outside so much with my friends, and we loved inventing new games. So it's fun, right? It's like we were so bored at times that we then had to become so creative in the opposite direction. So the games we would invent were incredible with like, I don't know, balls and this and that and make believe and just running around the neighborhood and being in nature. So we had so much fun. Um, and even like starting to play video games when we were a bit older, like there was just so much enjoyment around us. And I think sometimes I actually forget how much we played and just loved and enjoyed our time as kids. It was, yeah, so much joyful. Card games, Uno, like that was another big one for my
Mm.
family with my grandma. We played so much Uno. Yeah, we really, really loved it. Really enjoyed it.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because I do remember when I was young, like you did get bored. There was not always constant stimulus like there is today, with online or computers, phones. And I remember, you just go outside and you felt bored, but then you found something to do. And I constantly remember my mother saying, go outside and play. If you went, Mom, I don't know what to do, or my father said, go out and play. And you'd go out, and it was good to feel moments of being bored. And then next moment, you did something, you created something, you played. I think that's missing these days. Just when you were saying boredom, I said that's really missing a lot. Like people are afraid to feel that gap and the gap and allow something to come from that. And through play, play is moment to moment.